All right, let's get this show on the road. Hello, welcome to the stream. I forgot to scroll over to a more interesting thing to look at than just this wall of text. Here we go. Pretend this was up the whole time in the 5 or 6 minutes that we're waiting to start. So today we are playing Ironsworn. This is going to be the final Ironsworn session for now. It may not seem like we've been playing it very long, but we can always return to Cuthbert's story in the future. So I am going to try to wrap this up this time, either focusing on this vow to relieve the famine of the village of Woodfalls, either completing it or abandoning it. So that's because next week I really want to look at the any solo RPG nominees for the new category they've got there. So I'll be doing that basically every night next week. And the Friday after, I won't be here. So I didn't really want to have like a 2-week gap in the middle of Ironsworn. And then, we come back to it and we play 1 or 2 more sessions before switching over to Astro Prisma. But best just to try to wrap it up in 4 sessions. But as I said, it's not the end. We can always return to Ironsworn. I think that's maybe an advantage of these short campaigns. If each one somewhat encompasses a story arc, it makes it a little bit easier to return to them later on. And so eventually what I'd kind of like to have is just to have a library of campaigns partway through that I can just return to from time to time. And occasionally I'll drop something from the list if I'm not really feeling it anymore. Occasionally I'll bring something new in, but it won't be just a new thing every 6 weeks that we never ever see again after that. But we'll see how it goes. So, to summarize, last time, Cuthbert and Kabira journeyed to the village of Woodfalls, which is suffering from an unnatural famine. It had changed since we last passed through on our way to the town of Mornhaven. Many people were sick. Some had even died. We asked around and learned that the sickness kind of began with some men returning from a fishing trip upriver, where they had gone to attempt to catch fish to offset the famine. They'd all come back sick and had very quickly died shortly afterwards. So we went upriver and found the situation worse than we'd been told. We found the plants themselves sickly, diseased, discoloured, crumbling away. We found a wolf dying of some just normal, mundane wolf illness, but which was progressing way too quickly. We crossed through a field of thorns in which Kabira got pricked and immediately started to succumb to some infection. But after making it across, we found a disturbed stone circle, which, according to Ironlander legend, keeps the Firstborn at bay. The Firstborn being trolls and goblins and dwarves and elves and that sort of thing. And Kabira feared that something had come through. Cuthbert's, being a good man of the faith, thought that was all, of course, superstitious nonsense, and if anything had come through, it wasn't some sort of troll or goblin or whatever. It was obviously a demon. That's the rational thing, the sensible explanation. Especially given all of the strange sickness of the plants and animals around here. So we returned to the village and spent some days there. Cuthbert's trying to tend to Kabira and the villagers without having much luck, praying for their salvation, both physical and spiritual, and just kind of attempting to draw out this demon, if demon it be, through jealousy. And so after some days of this, a terrible monstrous roar came from the forest, and Cuthbert knew it was the demon. He set forth to confront it, but was defeated, and the demon left him for dead. After he managed to make it back to the village, he meditated on his failure, wondering why his faith was too weak to defeat this beast when there are so many examples in scripture and legend of holy men turning aside demons. He eventually decided that he maybe just wasn't ready for this. He'd reached above his station, and this defeat was kind of a message from on high to humble him. He felt that he needed a less confrontational approach and decided that the way forward was to sanctify the village, to keep the demon out, and so send it off somewhere else. We can't vanquish it, we can just drive it away. So knowing this was too great a task for one man alone, he returned to Kabira, cut open the swelling on her leg, poured holy water over the wound while invoking Saint Damien, the patron saint of lepers, and the next morning Kabira was healed. So that's where we left off, on a new morning, ready to begin the task of somehow sanctifying this village to protect it from demonic onslaughts. Now, I am going to retcon the demon fight. You know, having slept on this once or twice or several times, really, since last week, I felt that I approached this mechanically the wrong way and narratively the wrong way. Combat was the wrong way to approach this, so I handled this as, you know, just like a normal fight, pretty much, except where I was kind of attacking with, I was like striking with heart rather than iron, to represent me, you know, drawing upon my faith and that sort of thing. But the demon was very much attacking with its, you know, physical prowess. And people don't physically fight demons in these stories. You know, if you're strong enough in your faith, you can defeat it. It can't touch you. If you're not strong enough, it'll mock you and go on its sinful way. There's no, like, slapping Bibles out of hands and rolling between the demon's legs and so on. I just got a bit carried away, and really, I think it didn't work that well. So I am keeping that Cuthbert lost. I'm not, you know, retconning the entire thing, but rather than it being a physical defeat, let's say it was just more of a spiritual defeat. And so I have updated my stats to reflect this. I mean, I was nearly dead. I was on 0 health. So I've reset my momentum back to 2. I've put my health back to full, and I have dropped my spirit down by 2 points. So mechanically, I'm in a much better place than I was last time, but it's still a defeat. And I imagine what happened instead is something like we marched out to confront the demon and tried, you know, like reading scripture at it and whatnot, and it kind of laughed at us, mocked us, told us we had no power over it, and left to go on its wicked way, which has dispirited us. So let's pick it up there. It is the new day. We need to start a new giant text box. Let's put one like here. We are still... I don't really know why I've numbered these the way I have. Like, we're not in session 5. I think I was maybe like thinking about story arcs or something. Anyway, we are still in the village. We have healed Kabira, and our plan is to sanctify the village so the demon can't encroach. What I'm thinking is maybe like walking the bounds of the village. I'm sure there's some like patron saint of boundary markers or whatever. There's patron saints of everything. So I'm thinking we walk the bounds of the village, invoking the relevant saints, like sprinkling holy water on the ground as we go. Maybe like Cuthbert going clockwise and Kabira going anti-clockwise, so kind of like form a big circle together and meet up. And that should at least protect the village from anything bad coming in. So wondering if there's any like danger involved in this that we might need to worry about. I think there probably is. I think the demon won't just like take this lying down. I think probably will try to fight back. Maybe maybe it'll send like infected animals after us, or like try to get something across the border into the village before we close it off. Maybe like a evil like tree tendril kind of reaching over, like or pointy and evil into the village before we kind of close the boundary, so there's something bad inside. I guess this is going to be... I'm not really sure we're facing danger here. I don't think it's risky in that way. I think we're more like securing an advantage here. We are ensuring that no more demonic influence can come directly into the village itself. It's all going to be contained outside the village, which is still a problem, but it's less of a problem. I think we're going to secure an advantage, and since I am securing an advantage, and it is a morning, and I'm doing a godly thing here, I am going to do this. I'm going to say my daily prayers to ask my God for a blessing. It says my God, I'm going to ask God for a blessing. That's my God. My God is God. And the blessing I will ask for is, I guess, essentially that I just complete this task and I'm able to help these poor defenseless people against the minions of Satan. So let's do that, and then let's get on with encircling the village. I don't think... arguably, my lawkeeper could apply to this, but I don't think it directly applies. I think it the closer thing is the devoted asking for prayers, asking for guidance through my daily prayers. So let's get the dice and roll for that. Oops. Okay, that is a strong hit. So on a hit, take +2 momentum. I also get the advantages, the effects of securing an advantage. So I think I'll take control, which gives me a +1. So I've spent days reflecting on this defeat I faced by the hands, well, not hands, the spiritual might, I suppose, of the demon. First I was confused and then ashamed, and then I reflected on it and thought I was trying something beyond what I should do. So what I properly need to do is humbly approach God and ask how I should resolve the situation for aid in doing so. And that's kind of what I prayed for. So I feel empowered. I feel like this is the right thing to do. And I'm going to, Kabira and I will set off around the village, each of us with like a bucket of holy water, like splashing it as we go and invoking the saints. So let's just quickly look it up. Is there a patron saint of like boundaries? Let's see who we got here. We have Botolph of Thorney. Later known as Saint Botolph, was an English abbot and saint. He's regarded as the patron saint of boundaries and by extension of trade and travel, as well as various aspects of farming. Okay. So I guess we're invoking this guy, but what did he do? What did he do specifically? I founded a monastery. Why does this make him the patron saint of boundaries, though? I'm not sure. But okay, we're invoking Saint Botolph. Wow, another 6. That's very good. Another strong hit, even without the +1 from my divine guidance. So we do this without incident. We march around the village, sealing it off from demonic influence. So I think this will just give us some more momentum. Let's make a little note here. Remove this evil tree tendril because it is no threat to us. In the morning, I prayed for guidance and finished my that feels. I prayed for guidance and felt a guiding hand that this was the correct decision. Emboldened by this, Kabira and I set off around the boundaries of the village, praying loudly, praying aloud, it's a better word for it, to for the blessing of Saint Botolph. As we mark the bounds with holy water. No demon will enter this village. And already I feel the air begin to clear. Okay, is this a milestone? I'm not sure. I think I said last time that probably the next milestone is actually vanquishing the demon. And then there'd need to be at least... So that will be 2 boxes because this is a dangerous quest. And then there'll definitely need to be a milestone of getting food supplies because it's... whatever time of it is in the year. I kind of been picturing this as maybe like summer, I guess, or like autumn perhaps. I guess like the same sort of time of year as it is right now, maybe, in reality. And obviously you can't plant crops. We're not playing Stardew Valley here. You can't plant crops and have food in a few days. So we'll need to actually get food to this place. So that's going to be another milestone. And that leaves space for maybe one more milestone if we want to do that. No, do something else rather. So yes, I don't think protecting the village here counts as a milestone. We need to actually deal with this demon. So the demon can't come into the village anymore. We just need to drive it off somehow. Maybe we spend like quite a lot of time here, like some weeks, every day just going out and kind of reclaiming a little bit more of the surrounding land. By praying and by sprinkling holy water and whatnot. And I think this is going to be facing danger, because if we're going out of the village, it feels like something might try to stop us. Is the demon going to directly confront us? I don't think so. I think I handled it wrong by having it fight us before. So I think it will, attack indirectly, if at all. Right, so let's come up with like a little quick sketch map thing of what we got going on here. So we have like our village, and we know there's like a river that they fish from, which is probably quite near the village. Villages tend to be built, on rivers and that sort of thing. So let's have that. I don't know, maybe like down here. And also the sea isn't very far away, so it opens out to the sea. We've got, I think there's like a coastal path perhaps, or this is a path that kind of comes into the village. No, that's can't really read that. There's like a path that kind of comes into the village because we used it before, and maybe like goes out, and there's like a bridge across the river which leads on to Mornhaven. Back in this direction is whatever the second village was. Red Falls. And it's actually not Mornhaven, it is Longwick. Let's shift this out of the way slightly. Oops. It's very annoying, but Miro keeps forgetting my color settings. So every time I open the pen, it's reset all the colors, which is very annoying. And it only started doing this like a few weeks ago. Okay, so we have the sea down here. And we have this like diseased forest, which is kind of surrounding the village, and is heading like deeper, like further like upstream as well. This is the situation we've kind of got, and we've now encircled the village with like holy water. So let's put a little circle around here. We'll make it. Let's make it yellow and actually possible to see. Yep, so we kind of want to widen this out some more. Gradually enclose more and more bits of the forest so that we can start farming again and fishing again without needing to cross into the horrible diseased lands. And yeah, somewhere up here we've got a stone circle as well. Which has fallen. Actually, no, we put the stone circle back together. Okay, so a plan is forming in my mind. the stone circle has been put back together, so the demon can't just like flee back through that. If we reclaim enough of the forest, it will just have to go somewhere else, somewhere far away. So yeah, let's face danger as we have like a montage of like days, maybe even weeks, of just gradually creeping out into the forest and reclaiming more and more of it. So we are going to be facing danger with courage, I think, because we're aware there's a terrifying monster out there. And do we need to do anything? I think just a face danger roll will do, I think. And my luck is no longer quite so strong. So with heart, I've got a 2. So that's a 7 then. So I've got a weak hit. You succeed, but face a troublesome cost. Okay, that makes sense. You are delayed, lose advantage, or face a new danger. Suffer -1 momentum. You are tired or hurt, endure harm. You are dispirited or afraid, endure stress. Or you sacrifice resources, suffer -1 supply. Actually, wouldn't it be more fun maybe to handle this as a journey? Where the journey is kind of all the places of significant, tour the significant places around the village. Yeah, let's go with that. Let's just pretend we didn't roll to face danger. We shall undertake a journey to visit all the important places. Because just resolving it with a single roll, is that fun? I don't know. We also don't get to see anything interesting around here, so let's make this a troublesome journey. And each like leg of the journey represents like a day or so of, you know, going out into the wild, kind of securing an area, and then coming back to the village and resting up for a few days. So each milestone we get to will be some significant thing in the vicinity. So let's see. Roll plus wits. My wits is 3. Okay. Actually, let's just take this as the wits roll. That would have been a strong hit. Let's re-roll. That's a bit metagamey. Okay, so that's a weak hit. So we have a 9 on the d6, a 9 and a 5. Okay. A weak hit. You reach a waypoint and mark progress, but suffer -1 supply. So I guess as we trek through the diseased forest, the demon-haunted wilderness, we have to like a backpack gets caught on some thorns or something and is like ripped open, and we don't realize until we reach our point of destination that we've actually lost some of our holy water. It's kind of fallen out of the pack and trickled away, so it's a little bit difficult to actually secure the area. Let's see where we have ended up. And then let's face danger at each of these waypoints. This is, so we also mark progress. Okay, we have ended up at a plain. Let's go with that. And this plain is fertile. Makes sense, a fertile plain. So we've arrived at like an abandoned farming area. All the crops are dead. The ground doesn't look good anymore. It's all like dusty. But we need to fix this place so that they can start planting again, even if it's going to be many months before this bears fruit. Literally, it is required. So let's say so on the first. Let's see. So what are we doing? So we decided to head out to more places. So we decided to head out to the places around the village and sanctify them as well, to reclaim this land from the demon and drive it away. First, we visited the farmlands. Let's say it's to the southwest. The crops were dead in the ground. And not just dead, but twisted and discolored. Twisted and rotten. Blighted. We do our thing, and that's really bad. So, 6. I can't. I'll need to double check the rules to see if this 6 can cancel out a 6, or if it has to be higher. I think it might have to be higher. Let's see. Momentum. You can cancel any challenge dice that are less than your momentum value. So momentum is 6. We've got 2 challenge dice of 6. So we're getting a miss here, a miss with a match. So this goes terribly wrong somehow. So what are we doing? We're facing danger. On a miss, you fail or your progress is undermined by a dramatic and costly turn of events. And it has to be costly because this is a match. So this is a particularly dramatic turn of events. I think maybe we're attacked by birds. But let's just have a look at the action oracle for inspiration. But if nothing here strikes me, we can just be attacked by birds. Diseased birds. Okay, we've got manipulate or possibly breach. Breach kind of fits with animals coming in and attacking us. Okay, let's say that we're kind of doing this. We get maybe like halfway around the land, and then we're set upon by crows. And these crows, they are twisted, they are wrong. One of them's got like 2 beaks, kind of like the second beak jutting out at a weird angle, and one's got like one of his eyes is all like milky and white and has like a worm living inside it. So like horrible diseased crows, diseased deformed crows, and we like flee inside this farmhouse and shut the door. So we're now trapped inside, and there's like crows, like scrabbling at the doors and windows. It's like a scene from The Birds. As we encircled the area, we were set upon by aggressive, deformed crows. We fled to the farmhouse and shut the door, not wanting to be affected by whatever afflicts them. We hear them I'm flipping between the past and present tense here. It's fine, it's fine. I'm not writing a book. We hear them scrabbling outside the building. Scrabbling up the walls. Trying to get in. Inside. Okay. I wonder if we have anything. Do we have anything that could distract them? This is a case when you roll supply, I believe. I think it's a travel move. Where is it? Where is it? Oh, it might be an Ironsworn Delve move, actually. Check your gear. There we go. That's what it's called. I saw it and then it disappeared from me. Here we go. So I want to know, do I have anything useful in my pack that I could use to distract these horrible diseased crows so that we can like get out of the building that we're currently trapped inside and maybe return to our task? So we roll plus supply. Our supply is only a 2 because we did have a setback previously. So not amazing. And on a miss, maybe the crows will get inside or something. Okay. That was very lucky. We got a strong hit. So we take +1 momentum and we have the thing. The thing in this case, what the crows like? Crows like carrion. They're literally called carrion crows. So maybe we have like some preserved meats. We have some dried meats in our pack that were going to be our supplies on the road. And we take these out and use them to like distract the crows. I guess because we've got a strong hit, our supplies aren't diminished, so I guess that means we have enough for our needs even after this. Okay, right, so first we visited the farmlands to the southwest. The crops were dead in the ground, and not just dead, but twisted and rotten, blighted. As we encircled the area we were set upon by aggressive, deformed crows, we fled to the farmhouse and shut the door, not wanting to be afflicted by what afflicts them. We hear them scrabbling up the walls trying to get inside. Let's see, I pulled some dried meats out of my pack that the Jarl had given to us. And I'm picturing like there's 2 of us inside the house and there's a bunch of crows outside. I'm picturing like one person is like at the window, like showing themselves at the window, like taunting the crows, and the other one like runs to like a door on the other side of the farmhouse, and like waves around this like preserved meat, these dried meats. So the smell starts to waft in the air, and like maybe like yells, "Come and get it!" and then chucks the meat out, and then like slams the door before the crows like fly around the house. So I think we do need to attempt another face danger. I think this is enough to, you know, finish circling this place with holy water because we're interrupted in that by the crows. So I think we need to try it again, but the crows will still be the danger. That is a strong hit because we're facing danger with courage, which is heart, and my heart is 2, so that is 5, which is bigger than 4. That's how it goes. So on a strong hit, you get +1 momentum. Yeah, okay. I was thinking, do I really? I don't really, you know. I suppose this is, momentum is like a narrative resource. It's not that something's. It's not that my character is kind of building up, um, like getting into the swing of things or whatever. It's more like the narrative is going my way, so I get this like narrative authority which I can spend on things. Okay, so I pulled some dried meats out of my pack that Jarl had given to us, and we distract the crows longer to escape and complete our task. We return to the village that night. Triumphant, but weary. So that was like milestone 1. So I think we are running a bit low on supply, but I'm not sure we can really take the time to resupply. Maybe we could resupply in the wild, I suppose. I don't think there's a plethora of resources we can make use of in the village. Um, they're kind of running out of everything because they can't farm or fish or hunt or anything. So there's probably not much spare in the village. I think we just have to press on, and maybe we can, try hunting when we're out on the next day. Oh my god, it's so hot today. Man, I want summer to end. Okay, right, so we set out again, like, let's say the next day. So let's undertake a journey. Here we go. As we proceed to our next waypoint. That's a strong hit. We get there, and then we're going to make double progress. I'm not going to go for either of these. I think I'm... So the two options are, we mark double progress, which would represent, I guess, like we have a really easy time of it today, so able to visit 2 places. But I'm doing a face danger roll at each place, so I'm not sure about that. The other option is we can get momentum but suffer -1 supply. I don't really want to do that either. So I think I'm actually going to recover either spirit or supply here. I think maybe I'm going to recover some spirits here, I think. And the way I can justify this is, we've started to reclaim the woods around here from the demon, and I think we're starting to see the effects of that. I think we're starting to see, the disease isn't spreading as quickly, or maybe even starting to fall back in some places. We've only encircled the village and a farm with our holy water, but we've also got our prayers and stuff, and so the surrounding land is beginning to heal, which I think gives us a little bit of spirit back. And then we arrive at our destination, which is some sort of location. Okay, river. Or possibly glade. I'm thinking river. Inaccessible. Be dense. Well, we know of one significant location along the river. There's a fishing spot north of the village. That's where the disease kind of began, with people going out there to fish to relieve the famine and coming back infected with something. So I think that's the place we go to. So this is a place that was like a fairly pleasant clearing north of the village, upriver, but is now all twisted and deformed and horrible. But we make it up there. Next, we visited the fishing spot to the north. I think it's pretty much as we left it. But along the way, we saw the fruits of our labours. As the forest had begun to heal. Now let us face danger to fortify this place. That is a weak hit. You succeed but face a troublesome cost. I don't really want to suffer supply loss again because I'm already very low on supply. I could give up some momentum. Maybe it is pretty dense up here because this is closer to, the source of the badness, and so it just takes like quite a long time. It's kind of difficult to navigate this place safely, and so it just costs us a bit of momentum. Not feeling as hot after doing this. I'll knock this down to 7. I'm also going to try to resupply here, like do a bit of hunting, which may be a bad idea, but, we're running low on supply, and the village is running low on supply. So it's thematically appropriate. Navigating the dense forest around the river was challenging. Let's see. Noxious... or thorns dripping with noxious venom. Encircled many of the trees. Sprouting from dark vines. Thorns dripping with noxious venom. Sprouting from dark vines. Encircled many of the trees. Posing a treacherous hazard. It was nightfall before we were done. And now let's try to resupply in the wild. So we're rolling plus supply. We have 1 supply or 2 supply? We have 2 supplies. That is a strong hit. A strong hit, you bolster your resources, take plus 2 supply. I'm going to say we take 1 supply, and then 1 supply is going to the village. On the way back to the village, we spot a deer. Unblemished by the taint. We kill it and bring the meat back to help offset the famine. It is not enough, but it will help. Intense temptation to write "every little helps," which is I can't even remember which supermarket that's the advertising jingle for. I don't watch ads. I don't watch anything that has ads. It's just embedded in my mind. Is it Tesco? Let's see. Every little helps. Yeah, Tesco. Okay. It's funny how things get stuck in your mind, even if you've not seen these things for years, but it does. Okay, so we've been to 2 places, and well, I guess 3 counting the village. So the village, the nearby farmlands and the fishing spot up the river have all kind of been reclaimed from the diseased forest by surrounding them with holy water and invoking prayers to Saint, whatever his name was, Saint Botolph, patron saint of boundaries. I think we do want to try one more place before we try to complete this journey, which would then represent, we've kind of done all the important places around here. So we'll set off again the following day to go to yet another point. And this time we get a weak hit. So we mark progress but suffer -1 supply. Yes, we eat the entire deer on the way. Maybe we're going somewhere further afield this time. And so, yeah, we use up more of our supplies that way. Okay, right. Then we travelled further afield, visiting. Let's see, we've got 20. What is place 20? Visiting waterfall, ruin. What would be an important place near a village? So it's not a farm. It's not the fishing spot up the river. Maybe it's a mine. Just looking at this and knowing we've had like allusions to old and abandoned mines and so on in the campaign so far. Maybe this village has an active mine, and that's like their source of income. They are a mining village. Actually, what is the village called? It's called Woodfalls. You'd expect a mining village to have a mining or like metal or rock related name. Whereas Waterfall, maybe it's a logging village. Maybe they make their money through logging, and they have like a particular source of trees that are particularly good for building ships from. They're like really big, so they produce nice long straight planks. I don't know anything about making ships, but let's go with it. And this place is let's see, we've already gone upriver to a fishing spot. Maybe it's on like the other bank of the river somewhere. There's like a tributary leading in, so they like float the logs down the river that way. Sure, let's go with that. There's a logging site that's like a couple of days' journey away, and there's like a few huts there for the woodcutters. But they chop the trees, float them down the river, and then they sell these, like convert these into planks and sell them to make boats, and that's where the village's income comes from. Okay, so we go to this place that's further away. Then we travelled further afield, visiting a logging camp across the river to the east, a few days' journey from the village. There we found the corpses. Let's just say the woodcutters are all dead. The corpses of the woodcutters in their huts. Unprocessed logs left lying on the ground, lying where they fell. And so we've kind of got like a whole like mini forest to encircle this time, I suppose. But undeterred, we set off to do the thing. And get another weak hits on the old face danger roll. Okay, so we've had aggressive animals once. We've had losing momentum once. I think it'd be interesting to have something different. Let's go look at the pay the price oracle for inspiration here. Like, what's the bad thing that happens? A new danger or foe is revealed. I mean, a new danger or foe would be convenient because I don't have a vow that would come in after this one. I mean, I have my background vow, but I don't have an immediate situation to deal with. So a new danger that could be the source of a new vow would be handy, narratively convenient. Maybe we see signs that it wasn't just disease or whatever that got these woodcutters. Maybe we see signs of violence, like they're attacked. Yeah, let's go with that. New danger. There's like violent marauders or something in the area. So there we found the corpses of the woodcutters in their huts. I guess they're not in their huts anymore. We found the corpses of the woodcutters outside with weapon wounds, as if they'd been attacked. As if they'd been set upon while they worked. Half-processed logs. And there we found the corpse of the woodcutters outside. Half-processed logs left on the ground. The bodies with weapon wounds as if they'd been sat upon while they worked. Is this also of the demon? Okay, but we still do the thing. So the cost, the weak hit was, a weak hit is generally you still do the thing. It's just that there's something. It's not like quite a full success. Maybe it only is temporary, or maybe there's some of the difficulty revealed. Here, the bad thing was we reveal that there's someone violent in the area that might come back to bite us later. But otherwise, we deal with the area. Undeterred, we press on and complete our task. So now I need to roll to see if we manage it. Only just. We've got 9 boxes filled. We've got an 8 and a 10. So we've got a weak hit on the journey. What does that mean? You arrive at face an unforeseen hazard or complication. Envision what you find. Okay, so I think maybe what we learn, maybe we get back but realize there's something more we need to do. Let's go look at the action and theme oracle. So we return back to the village that night, or like a few days later, if it's a fair journey away. Seize or move. Safety or weakness. Seize safety. Move weakness. Move weakness. Seize safety. Move weakness. Move weakness. Move weakness. An idea is forming. Perhaps We return to the village and find signs that the demon has somehow been there and infiltrated while we have been gone. You know, nothing flashy, there's just faint scent of evil upon the air. Which we did not expect to happen because, you know, we've got this whole place ringed in holy water. The only logical explanation is that there is someone in this village who is inviting the demon in. Some sinner, some terrible sinner, who's acting as a beacon to this demon, and we need to deal with this. Maybe this is why the demon targeted this village in the first place. You know, they were let through the stone circle because someone messed it up. But then why did they go to this village? Was it just because it was nearby, or was it because they were drawn here by sin? Let's roll a d8 on the list of the 7 deadly sins and see what someone is doing. 7. Sloth. Sloth. That seems a little tricky to work in. Let's see. Sloth. One of the 7 deadly sins. It is the most difficult of the 7 deadly sins to define and credit as sin, since it refers to an assortment of ideas. Ooh, assortment. Okay, like spiritual indifference. A lack of feeling about the self or others. Sorrow about spiritual good. Yeah, honestly, this one's a little bit tricky because, as it says, unlike the other capital sins, sloth is a sin of omission, being a lack of desire and/or performance. So there is someone here who is so slothful, it is somehow drawing demonic attention. I don't really see how to use that one. Okay. Got a 4 instead. That's envy. Okay, that seems much easier. Okay, there is someone here who really covets his neighbor's ass, or whatever it is you shouldn't covet. There is someone in this village who is maybe not too well off. I don't know. Maybe they are well off, but they really want what other people have, and are willing to go to any length to take it. Maybe this person is like known around. Yeah, I'd say this person is known around the village as a bit of a, not exactly a troublemaker. I'm kind of envisioning someone who, like one possible way of making envy a particularly bad sin would be like a thief, right? Someone who just goes and takes what they want. But what if this is someone who is like makes use of like laws and customs to get what they want? Someone who like abuses their position, perhaps, or their knowledge of the laws of the land or something, to kind of get what they want through clever arguments. But ultimately, it comes from a position not of a desire for justice, but of a desire for other people's things. Maybe this is a person who has like owns some land and has managed to like seize their neighbor's land through like careful legal manipulation and like legal maneuvering. Um, yeah, thinking that sort of person. So we return to the village. We return to the village, but caught the faint stench of evil upon the air. Um, and actually, just before I go any further, it is really hot in this room. I'm going to take a break for a couple of minutes and go and relocate to a colder part of the house. I will be back in a few minutes. Okay, I'm back. It is several degrees warmer indoors than it is outside. So I've opened all of the doors and windows in the house, and hopefully it will cool down in here. I do have one of those, portable AC units, but unfortunately, even though my microphone doesn't pick it up, my voice does sound very crunchy when I have it on as I speak. So I guess there's some sort of noise cancellation going on, and it does not sound good. So I'll probably be taking another break in like around the 2 hour mark, so like in like an hour's time, to switch the AC on for a few more minutes. But we can get through this together. Right, so where were we? We returned to the village, but caught the faint stench of evil upon the air. The demon had somehow infiltrated. Now let's leave that up. We returned to the village, but caught the faint stench of evil upon the air. How do we work out it's this complete dick who is the cause of it? Maybe it's just, it's a bit corny, but maybe it's just like a scene in the movie where we come into the village and, we smell the air like something's not right. And then we just like happen to like look across the like open village square and we just see this guy and we're like, it's him. Maybe since we've established that this guy's a bit of a vexatious litigant, maybe we see him leaving the Jarl's house looking very pleased with himself, and trailing after him is another villager who looks a lot less happy. So let's go with let's look up some. Let's get a role for this guy. Probably a wealthy landowner or something. Priest. No, 38. Sailor. That doesn't really fit. That's also a D8. That's not what I wanted to roll. 98. A farmer. Okay, let's say that his victim is a farmer. And where's the list of names? A farmer called Bass. Let's say our man is called... Evil man is called... 48. Hersham. Then I saw Hersham, a wealthy and much disliked. Wealthy villager. Leaving the Jarl's house looking very satisfied. A moment later, Bass, a farmer who had lost everything when the farms had to be abandoned. Who had... No, we've not lost everything yet. A moment later, Bass, a farmer who had to relocate to the village when the crops began to sicken. Comes out afterwards. Comes out looking dejected. Follows. Let's say we talk to Bass. I'm sure he's happy to talk to us. We've been around for probably a few weeks at this point. And we've been doing good around here. We talked to Bass and heard that Hersham had managed to claim, had managed to seize his land. I say that Hersham is a wealthy and much disliked landowner. let's say he was like letting the land to Hersham, to Baz rather, and he's managed to like make use of some contracts to get the land back. We talked to Baz and heard that Hersham had managed to seize his land from him. So Hersham managed to seize land from him using some technicality in the leasehold contract. Leasehold is a terrible system of property ownership, but let's just say we've got leasehold in the Ironlands. Using some technicality in the leasehold contracts about how long the land can be left fallow in certain times of the year. So Hersham managed to seize his land from him using some technicality. I don't know why I keep reading the technology. Some technicality in the leasehold contracts about how long the land can be left fallow at certain times of year, and there was nothing the Jarl could do to refuse. Let's say it seems that this isn't the first time Hersham has done this. Taking advantage of the misfortunes of others. To enrich himself. So is this I don't think this is really envy. I think this is more greed, what's going on here, but it's fine. It's fine. Right, okay. So we know that this guy is clearly a sinner, and therefore is a liability when there's a demon hanging around. In the good old days, we'd just crucify him, but I don't think we can do that anymore. They don't really let you do that. It's kind of Jesus' thing. So ideally, we would somehow convince Hersham to repent. But if he's been doing this for a while and he's attracting the attention of demons, maybe that's not going to work. I mean, we can try, I suppose. I mean, that'll be the reasonable thing, to go to him to try to convince him to repent and turn over a new leaf. We could try to compel. I don't think we'll get him to like turn up a leaf with a compel. You know, it's not mind control. You know, it's just like in D&D. If you roll a nat 20, the king isn't going to hand you over his crown and kingdom. You know, if we get a strong hit on the compel, we're not going to convince the evil, greedy guy who takes advantage of others' misfortunes to buy their land to completely throw that away. At best, we would get him to maybe overlook the situation with Baz. I think it's worth a try. But probably the better solution is we have to drive this guy out of town. So I shall approach him and I shall try to convince. I guess I'm making like a moral argument, I suppose, which is definitely plus hearts. I got a weak hit. Okay. This is kind of like the scene in A Christmas Carol where Bob Cratchit is asking for time off at Christmas and Scrooge is commenting on like the cost of coal or something in the fireplace. He's like, who will reimburse me for this? Or like, who will reimburse me for all the work that doesn't get done, and so on. So we go to Hersham's house. I'm sure it's like the nicest, largest house around in this fairly small and poor village. And I'm sure he welcomes us in. He probably puts on a pretense of being a friendly, reasonable man. And he listens to our concerns. And sounds very serious when he says something like, I completely understand where you're coming from, and I agree that it could be seen as unjust to take the land that I leased to Bass back, but you have to understand, leaving it fallow in the productive time of year is bad for reasons X, Y, and Z. And if I give it back to him, who will compensate me for the lost productivity and whatnot? So I think he wants something valuable in exchange for doing this, something of like roughly equal value to like a field. And honestly, I'm not sure we've got anything. We don't know about any treasure. We can't perform any great services. So I think this might just be a miss, pretty much, like mechanically. So I think he kind of outlines his reasoning and like the price that he would demand, and he's like, "Well, can you afford this price?" And we have to be like, "No," and he's like, and it's just like a little bit smug. He's like, "I thought not." Now I don't tell you how to go about your business. So I'd appreciate it if you didn't tell me how to go about my business. I just kind of have to like leave. So, Cuthbert visit Hersham. Cuthbert visited Hersham and tried to convince him to overlook Bass's actions, to have mercy, but Hersham demanded a high price for leniency that he maintained was only fair. Cuthbert could not afford his price or convince him to lower it, and so left dejected. So I guess the next step is we need to get rid of this guy because his greed is drawing in the demon. I'm sure there's like a few people we've made friends with here. Maybe we've like converted at this point. So we shall. Feels like facing danger, honestly. We need to convince like the good people of the town that this guy needs running out. He's not just an unlikable jerk. He's also actively endangering the community by drawing in demonic influences. So this does sound like a dangerous situation. I guess let's spend a few days gathering information about this guy, learning about other ways in which he's wronged people. Because it's better if we can like convince him to leave than just like chase him out with violence. But yeah, let's try gathering information. Is there anything we could use against him? That's wits. That is a weak hit. The information complicates your quest or introduces a new danger. Okay, I think the complication here is that legally he is completely above board. He is very careful about that. There's no way we can argue that he is acting like legally improperly. He has a completely ironclad defense. He has contracts, he has things witnessed and notarized, explains all the terms whenever anyone makes an agreement with him. He's just better at playing the game than everyone else. So we can't get him out on like a legal technicality. We can't play his game against him. So, okay, let's raise up the village in an angry mob and chase the guy out of town. But without killing him, like without harming him, or doing anything else bad, really. We just want to get this guy out. So, let's say we set the seeds for this. Word kind of travels amongst the villagers who are more loyal to us, and we're rolling with iron. I think aggressive action. Ooh. Okay, so that would be a weak hit. I think endure stress makes sense here. So, right, let's flesh this out of it. So we spend the next few days. So we spent the next few days asking around about Hersham to find a weakness or a legal technicality we can use. Drive him out as he does to others. The man is a danger to the community as he is drawing the attentions of the demon. As his greed. But everything he does is by the book. Perfectly legal. Just ruthless. There is no technicality to use against him. Technicality or wrongdoing. More drastic action is required. That night, we rile up an angry mob to drive Hersham out. It is unpleasant work. And villagers must be restrained from harming him as he is deeply unpopular. And has wronged many of them. But it must be done. Okay, we are going to endure stress. When you face mental shock or despair, I think it's mental. Yeah, I guess it's kind of despair at having to it's some emotion along those lines of having to do this, unpleasant task. Roll plus spirit or plus heart, whichever is higher. My heart is 2, my spirit is 4. Okay. Alright, that is an 8. That is a strong hit. You shrug it off. I think I want to shrug it off. I don't want to embrace the darkness. That's a bad thing for a man of God to do. So, my spirit goes... Oh, actually, I was rolling with a plus 3. Yes. My spirit goes down first. So I lose 1 spirit. I've rolled with a plus 3, which means I've got a weak hit. You press on. Okay. No change. I'm sorry, just excuse me a moment. Sorry about that. Okay. So we've done it. We've driven the guy out. We feel spiritually bad about this, but it had to be done. So that is the the securing of the place is done. So I think we're pretty close to being able to. Let's just say we're ready to confront this demon again. So we tried facing it initially without really any preparation, just the armor of faith, and that was not sufficient. Now we have fortified the demon and the demon. We've fortified the village and some important locations in the vicinity against corrupting influences. We have driven out a sinful man who was acting as like an inn for the demon, so it should be significantly weakened now, much less able to affect the area. So I think we probably don't need to. I think combat is not the right way to do this, as I said, because that's not really how these things work. So let's just have a look. Maybe battle is the way to go. Right? It's a kind of battle based on my heart. I think this is the way to go. Let's just get this ad break done, and then we'll do the battle. Let's start it right now, and then in 90 seconds we shall do the battle. Alright, so let's just read through this so while the ad break runs. So battle, when you fight a battle and it happens in a blur, I guess that's kind of what's happening. Envision your objective and roll. If you primarily fight at range, we're not doing that. We're fighting depending on our courage, allies, or companions. Courage, I suppose, like spiritual power. Faith, which we've been treating as hearts. And then on a strong hit, we would achieve our objective unconditionally, take +2 momentum, which brings us up to 10 momentum. That'd be pretty good. On a weak hit, you achieve your objective, but not without cost. Pay the price. And on a miss, you are defeated, and the objective is lost to you. Pay the price. So I think if we get a miss, we have to abandon the quest, the vow. Because on a miss, you're defeated and the objective is lost to you. The objective being driving away the demon, which is the cause of the famine. If that's lost to us, there's nothing we can do. But we have 8 momentum, so I think it is pretty unlikely we're going to get a miss. We need to roll a 9 or a 10 on both the d10s. Stranger things have happened, but it's not amazingly likely. So let's try it. So we're rolling with hearts. Okay. And we got a strong hit with a match. Okay. So you achieve your objective unconditionally. Take +2 momentum. I think the way this goes is let's say I spend like a few days like in prayer and meditation and fasting and sitting beneath waterfalls and all that good stuff. But this time emboldened. by faith and good. I don't know. Let's just say, but this time emboldened. I don't need to be specific about what's emboldening me. So I spent a few days in prayer and meditation, preparing myself once again to face the demon. But this time, let's get rid of it. This time, I then set off into the wilderness alone. And once again, it comes to me. A terrible giant. The plants around it, sickening and rotting. Before my eyes. A foul smell of a foul, sweet, a sweet, yet foul smell of sickness coming from it. That fills the air. It bares its teeth, or it bares its teeth and laughs at me, mocking me for daring face it again. But I do not back down. Our spirits clash. Once more, but this time I am the victor. And the demon is driven before me. Deep into the wild places. Far from the village. And it takes its pestilence with it. Okay, so complete victory over the demon. That's going to be a milestone. So now I think we really just need to get some food. It'd be kind of nice to get 2 more milestones, just in case. But certainly 1 more milestone at least. Like, I feel comfortable trying to complete this vow with 1 more milestone. Like, unlike with restoring the waters to Mornhaven, I can see what failing this vow could mean. Like, if we fail the vow, maybe it means that the pestilence the demon inflicted the land with has made it infertile for years to come. It's going to be a long time for the land to recover. So maybe relocating the village or finding new sources of food could be steps. Whereas when we were restoring the waters to Mornhaven, we restored the water, and then I missed the vow. It's I don't really know what that could be. Does the water stop again? I don't know. But in this case, it's pretty obvious. It would be, we've kind of solved the problem, but the effects linger. So yeah, I think let's get supplies. Where could we get supplies from? Is there anyone we've been to that could provide provisions? There's the village of Red Falls. It is a village. We could maybe go to Red Falls. We have a bond there. Catch up with Cadigan, and maybe we could convince him. I think it's probably compel. I don't know. Yeah, maybe compel, I suppose, to use their ships to catch a large amount of fish and bring that for free to Woodfalls is kind of out of the goodness of like the good feeling they have for Cuthbert. That could be a way of doing it. Let's do that. So we've already like traveled around a little bit, so I think we can just make it to Red Falls. Let's say we journey away for like, let's say it's like a few days journey away, or like a week or two, let's say. Okay, so the villagers rejoiced when the pestilence left the land, but the crops are all dead, and the river alone cannot provide for the whole village. I announce that I shall visit, or I shall go to Red Falls and ask my friend Cadigan there. It's going to go to Red Falls, where I am known, and ask that they share what they have. Kabir and I set off down the road. So, a week later, we arrive at Red Falls. Cadigan and the others are glad to see us and have many questions about our journey. I leave Kabira to regale them with tales, as she is a better storyteller than I. That evening, I talked to Cadigan about the condition of whatever the place is called, Woodfalls. Hang on, we've got Red Falls and Woodfalls, or I mixed up the place names. Red Falls, Woodfalls. Okay, yep, Red Falls and Woodfalls. That evening, I talked to Cadigan about the condition of Woodfalls and broached the topic of providing food. He considers this matter and do I get any bonuses because I'm using like a bond here? Yes, add +1 if you share a bond. Okay, so I've got a 6, which is a weak hit. Okay, I guess this could be my next vow. Yeah. He considers this matter and agrees, but says that the village has been having a let's see. Let's go check out some things. I want to know, like, maybe let's look up a settlement trouble. That could be it. Bandits. Let's just say the bandits. He considers this matter and agrees, but says that the village has been attacked, has been raided by bandits in recent months, several times. And asks my aid in return. I gladly offer what aid I can perform. And we shake on it. In the Ironlander fashion. Okay, let's swear a vow. Let's swear a new vow to help with these bandits. And then roll to see if we complete our vow with Woodfalls. Let's make this one a dangerous vow as well. So we are going to swear an iron vow. I'm rolling plus heart, and I share a bond with this person, so I get a +1. There's a +3 overall. That is a strong hit. I've already got full momentum, so let's just note this down for next time. Strong hit on the new vow. Okay, right. Now let's see if we can complete this vow to relieve the famine of Woodfalls. So we have an 8 on our tracker. We've got a 5 and a 6. That is a strong hit. Your quest is complete. It was a dangerous vow, so we get 2 XP. Which is 3 XP in total. Which is enough to advance, I believe. Let's just check advancement. Upgrading assets. Here we go. Spend experience, page 44. When you fulfill your vow, you gain experience. When you advance, you spend experience to purchase assets or upgrade an asset. To replace the X for each point spent with a filled-in dot. Oh, I see. Okay. Well, I guess it doesn't really matter because I'm about to spend these. I can add a new asset by spending 3 experience, or I can upgrade an asset by spending 2 experience. I'm thinking I probably want to add a new asset because I want Kabira to be, like, to give actual mechanical benefits. But let's see if I just want to upgrade anything instead. So this devotant, when you swear an iron vow to serve your god in a divine quest, you may roll plus your god stats. I'll be rolling plus heart as normal, but you can re-roll any dice. That's pretty cool. And when you fulfill your vow and mark experience, take +1 experience. That'll be pretty cool. I could also get a bonus from sojourning, however you pronounce it. Let's see what the companion assets are. See, are they all in the book, or do I need to look at the asset sheet? I think I need to look at the asset sheet. Are they here? No, let's get the PDF open. Okay, so Kabira is not a cave lion, giant spider, hawk, horse, hound. Could be Kindred. Kindred, your friend stands by you. They are skilled. When you make a move outside of combat, aided by your companion's expertise, add +1. Shield kin, when you clash or battle alongside your companion, or when you face danger against an attack by standing together, add +1. And bonded. Once you mark a bond with your companion, add +1 when you face desolation in their presence. That's actually it. That's the human companion. Kindred. It's actually not amazing. Like, okay, I suppose the skilled is useful. Um, I guess the expertise I'd give them would be like Ironlander lore. I guess. But actually, I'm not convinced by that. Maybe I do just want to upgrade one of these things. So I used this devotion path quite a lot in these two vows. It might be nice to maybe upgrade one of these two assets and kind of play into these more for the next like set of vows. So Lawkeeper is about recovering lost knowledge. This could be like finding relics and stuff. Story Weaver is about, well, telling stories. Honestly, the devotion seems the most generally useful. I I'm gonna mark this this one here. When you learn of a site or object holding lost knowledge and swear an iron vow to recover it for the archive, reroll any dice. When you fulfill your vow and mark experience, take +1 experience. So it is strictly less good than the middle one here, which is when you swear an iron vow to serve your god on a divine quest. You may roll plus your god stat and reroll any dice. When you fulfill your vow and mark experience, take +1 experience. Like it seems more like special case than that. Given that I'm out here proselytizing, trying to convert people to the true faith, it feels like basically every vow I make could be argued to be in my god's name. Whereas this is much more specific. It's about finding knowledge, finding relics, whatever. But I didn't do that at all, so I want to play into that more. So I'm going to mark this because I want to see it in the game. So that means I've upgraded a thing. So I actually only used 2 experience, and this one is merely checked. So I have 1 experience left over. Okay, let's write down a little bit more in the journal. Actually, I've already kind of written it down. I'm not sure there's anything more to write. Let's just have a look. See? So we wrap up Red Falls. Cadigan and the others are glad to see us and have many questions about our journey. I leave Kabira to regale them with tales. Actually, I guess there needs to be one more point, which is returning to Wood Falls with food. Two weeks later, I, Kabira, and Cadigan sail up the river to Woodfalls. Our ship, Cadigan's ship, laden with fish and other supplies. The Jarl of Red Falls is beside himself with gratitude. When Cadigan tells him there is no price. That a friend of Cuthbert's is a friend of his. Maybe let's forge a vow with this community, actually. Not forge a vow, forge a bond. You know, we've done a lot here. Yeah, let's do that. So if you do this, you roll plus heart. If you make this move after you successfully fulfill your vow to their benefit, you may re-roll any dice. Yep, let's do this. Okay, so we've got a 7. So that's a weak hit so far. I can re-roll any dice. So I'm going to re-roll this one. Perfect. A strong hit. Mark a tick on your bond progress track and choose one. +1 spirit, +2 momentum. And my momentum is already full. So +1 spirit. Man, making a lot of bonds with communities here, which is good if I want to spread the good word, I suppose. Not red falls, wood falls. The village of Woodfalls, it's a logging village near Red Falls. I drove a demon from their lands and ended the famine. Okay, I think that's kind of everything what I wanted to get done in this session. So I have a new vow to go for, but I don't want to start it yet because, we're gonna drop Ironsworn for a little bit. Let's see, anything worth talking about? It is a little bit early to end stream, but I don't just want to drag on. I see I forgot to put my background music on. Oh well. I guess I can talk a little bit about the schedule before calling it. So next week we're going to look at the 5 solo RPGs nominated for the best solo RPG in the Ennies. Those being The Bonsai Diary, Odyssey of the Giant, Pirouette, Song of the Scriptworm, and Spine. I've not played any of these before. I've not really looked at any of them. I know that The Bonsai Diary involves actually drawing, which will be terrifying because I am a terrible artist. I can barely draw a stick figure. And Spine is supposedly best played with a printed book and instructs you to do things like rip pages out and stab pencils through it and stuff. Now, I would, of course, never do that with a physical book. That's just wrong. I have ordered a print-on-demand copy. So I may be able to actually show it off when I do stream, but I won't be physically damaging my book. I'm just not that sort of person. I don't know anything about the others, the other 3, so I guess we'll just discover them together. And then the following week, I'm going to be playing a one-shot on Monday as usual, but then there will not be streams on Friday and Saturday. So that will be the let me check my calendar. That will be the 24th and 25th of the month. I will be away, and so there won't be streams then. But then the following week, the week beginning the 27th July, we will begin our new Astro Prisma campaign. So that's the plan for the next few weeks, and I gotta say, it really does help having a plan made in advance. Who'd have thought it? Rather than figuring it all out on a Sunday afternoon when I'm making the schedule. I do still have things coming. I've got my new model, which is being worked on and is hopefully nearing completion, so I'm hoping to be able to show that off at some point in the near future. I still don't know exactly when, but that's still in the works. We do have Stream 100 coming up early August. It would be fun if I could show off my new model then, but I'm not sure if it'll be done in time. We'll find out. And yeah, that's it, I think. So no need to drag this out. We'll just wrap it up here. So thanks for watching. I'll be back tomorrow to play the Seance of Blake Manor. It feels like a little while since we've done a video game. Although, yeah, it has been a while since we've done a video game. I think maybe the last one was Titanium Court and Deep Dish Dungeon. So, yep, we'll be playing the Seance of Blake Manor, which I haven't played before. It is a kind of puzzle game. We'll see if I'm stupid or not tomorrow afternoon. I probably am stupid. So, Yep, thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.